Isolation Protocol Day 15. 15 days of sitting here, knitting, reading, writing, yelling at the dogs. Tomorrow is April 1st, the beginning of Camp NaNoWriMo, so I will be reading something that I had written for Camp NaNoWriMo a long time ago, and that still needs editing. So this is the rough draft, Chapter 1 of Girl Unseen. Next! The call brought renewed pushing and shouting in the crowded room. Amid the chaos of the first day of school in the scheduling office, a small shadow figure sat silent and unnoticed in the corner. Unmoving except to tug on the faded gray hoodie, further hiding her face, Reese stood only when the line had dwindled to 2 students. At last it was her turn. She pushed the hood back and held out a thick packet of papers. "I just got moved here." The secretary looked around. "Is your mom here? Your dad?" Reese shook her head, sending her blonde braids swinging. "No, ma'am. It's all in there." The secretary looked over the papers. "Oh, I see. Your foster parents aren't here either, Amaryllis Amarisa Zila." The girl dragged out her name, emphasizing the long E's. "Amarisa Zila. I go by Reese." I don't see your birth certificate here, Reese." Oops, sorry, I'm reading this off the computer and the pages are not turning correctly. Reese pulled out a court order from the stack. "This should explain." Second period was already over by the time Reese was registered and had a class schedule. She rushed to her third period class, English composition. "Don't get comfortable. We have assigned seats in this class. I will not have time wasted taking roll every day. Anyone who has added to the roll since yesterday, approach my desk." The teacher looked like a caricature of a scarecrow crossed with a fashion model. Tall, but gangly. Arms and legs seemed to go wherever they wanted, but she was dressed impeccably in a pale blue-green suit. Reese was relieved when she was not the only one added to the class. She quickly printed her name on the roster as directed and slipped to the back of the room. While Mrs. Johnston pointed and read off names, the crowd in the back of the room dwindled. A tall blonde groaned. "Ugh. Alphabetical by last name. I'm always last." "Not this time," Reese mumbled. "Oh, yeah?" The blonde glared at Reese, then looked up and down from her faded oversized hoodie to the shapeless jeans to the second-hand sneakers. "OMG. That is so tragic. Don't you know who I am? Tishka Wyland. Nobody ever—" "There will be no talking in class," Mrs. Johnston called out. Tishka's perfectly formed eyebrows shot up when the last 2 seats were pointed out. "Patricia Wyland? Reese Zila. And call me Tishka." The blonde dropped her pink backpack into the indicated desk. After a lecture on class rules and expectations, they were given their first assignment. Interview the person next to you and write a biography. Tishka looked at Reese. She rolled her eyes with an exaggerated sigh, then gave a false smile as if posing for a photo. "I'll go first if you want." And without waiting for an answer, she continued. "My dad is Albert Wyland. My mom is Clarice Delatour." Reese started to write their names in her notebook. Tishka folded her arms and snorted when she didn't get the usual response. "As in Senator Bernard Wyland and the French movie star Clarice Delatour." "Can you spell your mom's name?" Tishka spelled the name. "You really don't know who they are, do you?" Reese shook her head. "I never get a chance to read newspapers or go to movies." "Wow, I never met anyone who didn't know about my parents. That is so bitchin'." She smiled, and this time her eyes lit up. "Sorry," Reese frowned. "No, I mean, that's good, okay? So, my parents met in France." Tishka went on to talk about her various trips all over the world, her servants, her dogs, famous people she met, her 3 best friends. "So we always try to go to the same classes together, but I missed so many days of English last year. No, because of the trip to Africa, and my mom was filming there. Did I say that already? Anyway, now I have to repeat this class. And anyway, when I turned 16 last month, my daddy said he was going to give me any car I want. So I was thinking, the teacher called out, 5 minutes, finish up your interviews for today. Tomorrow you will receive your assignment and finish the interviews if necessary. Reese spoke for the first time since Tishka started her monologue. Where did you get the name Tishka? I thought Mrs. Johnson said something else. Patricia Catherine Wyland. Mama always called me Patricia Catherine, and over the years it got shortened to Tishka.